Howdy stranger, QH here, and this is Reactionary Monastery, where we try to look at the chaos of modern culture with a little bit more nuance than the mainstream media. Today we're watching Nick Fuentes weigh in on Vivek Ramaswamy's win in the Ohio State gubernatorial election. Hope you enjoy, and if you value this perspective over outrage, don't forget to hit subscribe. Let's get into it.
Our featured story, we're talking about the gubernatorial primary in Ohio. Vivek Ramaswamy is the winner. Vivek Ramaswamy is the Republican nominee for the Ohio governor's race in 2026. Terrific. And Vivek won the nomination after he got a last-minute boost from J.D. Vance. From our fearless vice president, and you might remember, it was last year that J.D. Vance lent Vivek Ramaswamy some of his campaign personnel to help him. And then J.D. Vance made a little pit stop in Ohio earlier this week, I believe yesterday actually, to vote for Vivek because J.D. is still a citizen of Ohio. And you know what's funny about that? You know what's really funny about that? So J.D. Vance, funnily enough, he went to law school with Vivek Ramaswamy. They were Yale Law School classmates, and J.D. Vance's son, his firstborn son, is also named Vivek. Isn't that a funny coincidence? So J.D. and Vivek knew each other at Yale like 15 years ago, and that's also where J.D. met his wife, Usha, who is of Indian descent. Well, J.D.'s firstborn son is named Vivek. So there was this funny little moment where J.D. brought his son, Vivek, to vote for Vivek. J.D. and Vivek Vance came to Ohio to vote for Vivek Ramaswamy in the Ohio governor's primary. And I just thought, isn't that the most special little moment? I love our new GOP. I don't know about you guys, but I love our new Republican Party. I think you're going to love our new country. It's really great. If you like Trump, if you were on board with the original MAGA movement, if you were on board with the original Trump 2016 campaign, which was about building a border wall, removing all immigrants, ending all wars, attacking international banks, well, you're going to love the new GOP, which is J.D. Vance, his wife Usha, their son Vivek, and their best friend, Uncle Vivek Ramaswamy, who thinks that Americans are dumb and lazy. So if you like Trump 1.0, if you like the 1,000-year Trumpenreich, MAGA fascism, you're going to love the two Viveks, Usha and J.D. Get excited for that. Get excited for J.D., David Sachs, Vivek. This is going to be great. Tucker, I can't wait.
You know, I do always love a good dog whistle.
So Vivek Ramaswamy is the winner. He is now the Republican nominee. He'll be running as the Republican for the Ohio governorship. This is a story about that. This is from NBC. It says, quote, Vivek Ramaswamy, a Republican pharmaceutical entrepreneur, and Dr. Amy Acton, a Democrat who served as the Ohio health director under the current Republican governor, won their respective primaries for governor on Tuesday, according to the Associated Press, setting up what will most likely be a closely watched contest this fall. Ohio has not made a Democrat its governor for nearly 20 years, but recent polls have shown a surprisingly tight race to succeed Governor Mike DeWine. The campaigns have strikingly different pitches. Dr. Acton's emphasizes affordability, a message her campaign thinks will resonate at a time when gas prices are soaring and inflation is up. While Mr. Ramaswamy's focus is on a gospel of ambitious renewal, promising to make Ohio once again a national hub of innovation and wealth. But while Mr. Ramaswamy's aspirational speeches, not to mention his deep pockets, have excited Republican Party leadership, his longstanding eagerness to weigh in on a broad range of subjects have proved a fertile source of unwanted headlines. He has already drawn the enmity of the populist right for expounding on American culture's tendency to venerate mediocrity. More recently, recordings have circulated of Mr. Ramaswamy joking that Ohio is not his favorite state and explaining to a voter in Iowa the fundamental differences between his Hindu faith and Christianity, saying he considered Jesus a son of God, but not the Son of God. Such moments of candor may not reassure a skeptical Ohio conservative. Some of this unease was evident in the showing by the other Republican who ran in the primary, Casey Push. An auto enthusiast with far-right views, Mr. Push raised less than $125,000 for his campaign, yet was drawing around 18% with half the vote reported. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about Casey Push because I was very hard on him, and a lot of people were saying, why are you attacking this guy? He's a Republican in the race, and so on. Here's the thing about this primary, and here's what's actually a little bit crushing. This Republican primary might have actually been winnable. It is totally possible that an insurgent, spoiler, Republican primary challenger could have defeated Vivek Ramaswamy. Just look at the result. Casey Push had almost no name recognition. He raised no money. He hardly did any events. He ran a horrible campaign. And even still, he got almost 20% of the vote, basically just by being on the ballot next to Vivek. Now imagine if you had somebody like James Fishback in Ohio. Somebody who's actually smart, somebody who's actually good at talking, somebody who actually has a good digital team, somebody who's doing events across the entire state, hitting every county, viral and active on social media. Imagine if you actually had somebody competent in Ohio. I don't know that that person would have had an easy shot at winning, but certainly it would have been competitive, and it might have even been close.
Yeah, and imagine if politics wasn't a scripted scam like WWE or boxing.
And his name is John C.
Think about how much Vivek Ramaswamy blew it when he gave his Christmas speech in 2024. That was ample material. That was ample ammunition to destroy him. This is Ohio. This is a working class, Appalachian, Rust Belt, Great Lakes state that Republicans have carried, specifically Trump, by 10 points in recent elections. And you have an Indian pharmaceutical billionaire who is trashing white Americans on Twitter on Christmas. And you couldn't win? You couldn't beat him? Think about it. This is Ohio. It's half Rust Belt, half Appalachia. It's all white people. This was ground zero for the Springfield Haitians eating cats and dogs. Like I said, Trump has carried the state by 10 points as a populist, speaking to the white working class, speaking to the Rust Belt victims. And you've got an Indian first-gen immigrant pharmaceutical billionaire who said on Christmas that Americans are so mediocre and so lazy and so stupid that that is why they're falling behind India and Vietnam and China and all these H-1Bs from Asia.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And that was on Christmas in 2024. And see, guys, this is what I'm talking about when I say, and I said this the other night, when we talk about our ambitions and objectives in politics, let me tell you what works. We have to be better than everybody by far. We have to be the best. So there's a lot of people that think that we're going to get into politics, and if we're angry enough, and if we're loud enough, and if we're upset enough, that things are just going to happen for us, that we're just going to get our way. If we are just emotional and loud and extreme, if we just go on Twitter and we just tweet something really pissed off, that this sentiment, that this emotionality, that is just going to make it fall into place. And you know what else? If that doesn't work, they throw their arms up and they say, well, it's not fair. I saw this guy saying that. I saw other people saying that about this primary. I had people saying that in the weeks leading up to this election. People said, well, the reason Casey Bush isn't winning is because the other side is suppressing his approval or favorability in the polls. It's because the state is out to get him. It's because they wouldn't verify his signatures. It's because they're out. This mentality is all wrong. It's all wrong. Let me tell you the mentality that we need to win. The mentality is no excuses. No excuses, ever. We have to be the smartest. We have to be the most advanced, the most sophisticated, the most clever. We have to be better than everybody else by far. We have to be state-of-the-art, pioneers, industry leaders. We have to be running a laboratory, experimenting. We always have to be ahead of everybody else, and we have to be better than them. We have to work harder. We have to be smarter. We have to be better because it's true. It is a rigged system and it is unfair. And they have way more money than us. And they have way more endorsements and they have way more clout and they're networked up and they're mobbed up. And the only thing that is going to win is if we are just so much better that we overcome all of those disadvantages. And we can settle for nothing other than victory. I don't know about you, but saying I lost, but it wasn't fair isn't good enough. Saying, sure, he lost, but that's just how it goes because somebody that is that pure can never win. He's not cut out to be a politician because he's too good of a guy. Well, if you're too good of a guy to win, then fuck you. Do something else.
Wise words, Nick. Too bad your telos is retarded and you're just keeping people mentally enslaved.
I saw some people seriously say that. They said, he's too good of a guy. He doesn't wear a suit like a politician. He's just not cut out for this because he's too pure. Well, if you're too pure to win in politics, then get the fuck out of politics and go do something else. Go work in an auto shop. Go work in a hardware store. What matters in politics is winning. That's actually all that matters anywhere, is winning at any cost. So if you're too pure or too good or too fucking simple, if you're too simple and provincial, your provincial sensibilities do not facilitate you winning elections, then maybe you should be a volunteer instead of the candidate. And leave it to the Machiavellians. Leave it to the narcissists. Leave it to the attention whores, leave it to the performers, leave it to the iconoclasts, because they actually get momentum. They actually belong in politics. They actually get results, and you may not like it, but that's what works.
Yeah, Nick, that's a really great idea. Just leave it to the satanic psychopathic pedophiles. They know what's best for you, me, and everybody else in between. I'm sure they have a lot of tender love and care for all those kids.
So I saw some of that, and that attitude is going to get us killed. That attitude is going to make us lose. And let me tell you, in 2016, that was the original appeal of Trump, is we were getting our asses kicked by the left all the time forever because Republicans would just lose all the time, because Republicans were stupid and naive and just bad at politics. And when Trump came around, we said, finally a killer, finally a winner. Finally, someone who's just going to do everything and anything at any cost and be ruthless and just fucking win. And we contrasted that against all the other conservatives that called themselves principled losers. We contrasted Trump and Breitbart and the Groypers, the frogs on Twitter. We contrasted all of that with the older generation of National Review conservatives who would lose every election, who would lose every argument, lose every debate, but they would say, at least we went down honorably. At least we lost with our principles. At least we never compromised. You know what you get when you lose with your principles? You get shot in the back of the head and buried in a shallow grave. I don't want that to happen. So people say, at least we lost with our pride and our dignity. Fuck pride and principles and dignity and all of it. If you lose, we die. If we lose our country. If we lose, you get Vivek Ramaswamy and the immigrants lording over us. So we have to win. That's why I didn't endorse this person. And I didn't endorse this person because I don't like losers, and I don't like loserdom spreading over into our situation. Because you know what, everybody? If I had went all in behind this guy in this primary and then he loses, you know what everybody's going to say about me? And they already are regardless. Hanania and all the other Jews are saying, oh, look, Casey Push only got 15%. I guess Groyperism isn't real. I guess it's an online phenomenon. I guess it doesn't translate into the political world. I guess it can be safely ignored. That's what they can say when you don't have a serious campaign and you lose. That's why I can't be involved with that.
Well, I mean that, or you're just controlled opposition and playing your side of the Hegelian dialectic. Like, God forbid we just stop playing a game that's rigged against us and, you know, like, get rid of the Federal Reserve and stop paying our taxes into a fucking system that is clearly, like, doing everything in its power to just concentrate and control and ruin the world. Like, the biggest polluter on the face of the planet is the government. They've lost nuclear weapons. They burned things in the middle of the desert during a war. Like, they're not a good people, a good system.
Now I can credibly say I had nothing to do with that train wreck. I didn't endorse it because it had no chance of winning, not because of its ideas, but because of its team. I like getting behind people that actually are making a difference. I look at somebody like James Fishback, whatever you want to say, even in the end, I don't know how that's going to turn out. I really don't know what the vote will be in that primary in August. But what you can say about James Fishback is an interesting comparison, is that regardless of the outcome, Fishback is a phenomenon. It's viral. It's undeniable. It's all over social media. Everywhere he goes, he gets crowds of young people. It's interesting. It's different. It's exciting. He's doing the work. And I'm not trying to create enmity between them. You know, this is just an interesting comparison. Fishback is going to Waffle House, and the whole place is filled with college kids. He's going to the universities, and people are screaming, chanting, USA. He's putting on the burger crown. I'm sure older people are watching this and saying, what is this? Why is he putting on a crown? It's different. It's viral. It's exciting. There's crowds. It's profiled in the New York Times because something is happening there. And that's somebody that's not leaving anything on the field. That's somebody that's doing the work, looking the part, refining the message. And, you know, there's been a couple of missteps. We don't need to, you know, dwell on that. But for the most part, this is somebody that's creating an exciting blueprint for something that maybe it might not work now, although I hope it will. But certainly that's like a new model. That's a new blueprint for in the future. And like, to me, that's the kind of thing I want to be involved in. That's the kind of thing that I want to invest in. And those are the kinds of projects that we need to consider. And so I know I'm not endearing myself to a lot of people when I talk like this, but this has been a constant battle inside the dissident right movement. For as long as I've been doing the show for the past 10 years, I am constantly at war with my own side because I expect better. I am trying to raise the bar up. I am trying to raise the standard. I am trying to tell our side that we should expect more of ourselves. Better looking, better sounding, better results. And people don't like to hear that. People want to be Oliver Anthony. They want to go and cry about the problems in the woods, about how we're all losers. They want to be conventional. They want to do things that have been done and haven't worked. And I know nobody likes to hear it, but it's time for a little bit of tough love, whether it's that conference that was held this weekend, whether it's Casey Push, whether it was those two nitwits that were on CNN. That isn't going to cut it. And if we have any tolerance for mediocrity like that, this is never going to take off. No, you're not going to wear your merch and your hey dudes with your disgusting, fat, chubby little body and say you represent this movement on national television. I'm not going to let that happen. And it might hurt your feelings, but we can't allow that. So that's just a little note on the primary. It's very disappointing because, like I said, this was, by all appearances, could have been a competitive primary that a Groyper candidate could have succeeded in. Unfortunately, it just attracted the wrong person. And so it was an abject failure. 18% for showing up. You could have gotten 30% if they put a little effort in. Disappointing. Disappointing. You lost. And you didn't do a very good job. So you're done.